It's the middle of the grind, stuck deep in the week. James and Dan go live their spirits at its peak. Talking trails and airwaves, mountains in the air. Hopping streams and echoes, riding waves without a care. Explode. Radio out on the peaks, voices in the sky. Strap for a journey, signal to amplify. Pedals on the pavement, kayak rides ripple clear. Every path's a story, every sound we revere. Hump Day ramble, the hours alive. Adventure in their hearts, the signal thrives. POTA, SOTA, kayak, bike roll. Through the static of life, their voices explode. Mic in hand, stories pour, breaking walls that bind. Adventures, the religion, waves our holy shrine. Rove and wander, talk and share, find what keeps you strong. Hump Day's happy power, fueling where we all belong. Hump Day ramble, the hours alive. Adventure in their hearts, the signal thrives. POTA, SOTA, kayak, bike rove. Through the static of life, their voices explode.
What is up, Ham Radio? Kilo Echo 8 Papa's Blue November, the Ham Radio Adventure Guy. Thanks for stopping by. Your one stop for everything Adventure Radio. It is Hump Day. Time for the Hump Day Happy Hour. Got a great stream tonight. We've got lots of people on here tonight. Maybe I won't have to talk very much, but it's going to be a load of fun, I can guarantee you, because we got a good group of people here. Before we get started, we're going to thank the Patreons because they are absolutely awesome people. And they are counting the days to the first Patreon Murphy meetup of the year. Well, of course, it's the first one, Murphy of the year. First Patreon meetup of the year. Also, shout out to the YouTube members. You guys are awesome as well. And the ever-changing board, which guess what, Dan? No changes.
No way.
I'm serious, man.
Man.
Buddy.
Nobody wants to be the rover.
Nobody wants to be the rover. I'm going to let you do your thing before we get this started because we got a group of people.
Man, we are in for an exciting stream tonight. Learn all about the Georgia Parks on the Air event that's coming up. Let's run through the chat here to see who all is joining us. Andy Callie, good to see you. Kent, Kilo 9 Alpha, Echo. Hello, hello. Kilo Oscar 4 Golf. Bravo, bravo. Mo, what's happening, buddy? KO4 FSZ Antennas. And if you don't know yet, I believe he is back in business. His site is back up and he's ready to roll. Good to see you, Chris. Scrolling on down here. Kilo 4 O Tata. How you doing? Alpha Delta 2 Charlie Delta Toby. What is happening? Martini, that's the Jumbo Marshmallow. Whiskey Delta 4 Juliet Mike. Bob. Kilo Oscar 4 Zulu. India Kilo. Good to see you. Ham Radio Portable. Welcome. He is in here right with us. AD4XT. Reed, AB8AS. Good to see you. Georgia Parks and Propagation. He's also, which way am I going? He's also here. That's Alpha Echo 4 X-Ray Oscar, our buddy Ron Chris, as we call him. Victor Echo 3 Lima Bravo India. Larry, hello. Hello, Mike 88KB. Scott N2 TKT. November Live a Lover. Kilo Oscar 4. November Lima Lima Smoking. POTA is here. Turd is in the house, and for TRD, that's North Carolina Old Man Overload. Dad, Jim is here. Kilo Delta 9 Uniform Victor Kilo. He is here. Chris, Whiskey 8 Oscar X-Ray. What is going on? My Toy Ostrich. Chris, K3MTO. Good evening. Kenny, KC5 MJE. Whiskey 1 Radio Charlie Papa. Mickey Mouse has graced us with his presence. Appreciate it. And Julie Faust, the POTA Power, has arrived. Gene McPhee from Texas, N3X US, and Whiskey 1, Whiskey Charlie is here. And Michael. Who did I miss? Michael. Which Michael did I miss? Eastern Standard Time, Michael?
Yeah.
Brian? Did I miss a Michael?
Said you missed him and Michael.
Oh,
entirely.
man. No. I didn't miss you. I just got you. Kilo 4 Eastern Standard Time. I do see you. And hello to Kilo 4 Alpha, who is undoubtedly also listening. But Claude is in the house too. He's joining us here on the stream. We're going to talk all about Georgia Parks on the Air event, which is coming up very soon. So, hey guys, welcome to Hump Day.
Oh. All right, you know what? We're gonna do something different, Dan.
Uh-oh.
Charlie off Charlie.
We're gonna let Chris introduce everybody that's here tonight, because Chris don't ever like to talk, and we're gonna make Chris talk as much as we possibly can.
Hey, well,
man.
We forced him to unmute the microphone.
All right. Well, hey, well, first of all, James, we appreciate you letting us come on to your live stream here and talk about Georgia Parks on the Air. This is our third year doing this, and we've had a really successful time. Yeah, Julie and her crew down in Savannah found out first thing about Georgia Parks is the gnats are out even in the spring or winter time. They found that out today at Fort McAllister. So anyway, their live stream was like this anyway. But yeah, so we have two guys that pretty much, I guess these two guys were one of the very first people that started the Georgia POTA event, Claude and Steve. And I don't want to take too much away from them. So I'm going to let them go ahead. And I guess who wants to go first? Claude, I guess you go ahead and then introduce Steve after that.
Oh, I'm having too much fun listening to you, Chris. You're doing great. I mean, if I stumble and fumble, I mean, I can't fix it, but I can echo you, so that's okay.
You don't understand, Claude. So we do after chat after these streams.
Oh man,
you know, Chris is a Patreon. And, you know, he comes in the chill pad anytime we're in there and everything. And he'll come in there and he'll just put his microphone on mute. And he'll sit there for hours and listen to us talk. And unless you specifically ask him a question, you're not going to get him to unmute his microphone and say no.
Even then sometimes.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thanks, Chris. I'm glad somebody else gives you a hard time, too, like I do.
That's fine, man.
Sorry, man. I appreciate it.
As long as I'm in the log, I don't care. Go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, Steve and I were in just a little before you were with Georgia State Parks on the Air, but I'm sure glad James and Dan, you guys letting us be here. And I'm gonna pass it on over to Steve.
Okay, is my audio working okay?
Yeah, great.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool. Hey, I'm Steve, 84XT. Also run a little small YouTube channel, Ham Radio Portable. And been doing this portable stuff ever since I got licensed, and then enjoyed Parks on the Air when it first got started. Actually, I was doing the worldwide flora and fauna back then. And so when Claude came up with the idea or the group came up with the idea of putting this Georgia Parks on the Air together, that kind of sucked my energy out of the Georgia QSO party. So I'm kind of full steam on this one, having a lot of fun with it too.
Well, a lot of people do both Georgia QSO party. It comes in after the Georgia State Parks on the Air. And I'll tell you, every time I think about the Georgia QSO party, and Georgia State Parks and Air. I think about Canaan, POTAmaps.us. He's got an overlay for the counties with the park boundaries. It's a great resource. So if you don't get enough POTA one weekend, you can go out and do it again and do it counties too.
Absolutely.
What kind of turnout are we looking for this year? I know last year you had a sign up roster, and it really didn't fill in until kind of late. You know, kind of maybe a couple days before the event, it actually started to really fill in there. But how are we looking so far to get all 52 parks activated?
But we got 51 registered right now.
Hey,
And actually, somebody took Jekyll Island. That was the next to last one. And doggone, I may have to do it myself. I may have to go to Centennial Park, but that's a tough one up there. But
it is.
That would make 52, and I think we're going to definitely do it, Dan. And yeah, I was glad to see somebody got back on. We had a couple drop out from Jekyll Island, but yeah, this is we're still a week away to have that many already registered, and I got the actual stats. I ran back through there, but these are people that are registered. You know, there could be others that show up we don't even know about.
Yeah,
and I would say thanks to Mo, he took a pretty good chunk, including one that was down Steve's way, standing more. You may go over there too, but some of those don't get activated as much as others. So I'm glad to see people on the list for all of them.
Yeah, that's true. Last year, I participated as an activator and did fairly well. This year, I want to participate as a hunter so I can experience the other side of this as well. I want to experience both sides of it. So it's going to be really interesting.
So well, we know who's going to win that right now. So, you know.
No, not necessarily.
Well, I think about hunter and as activators too, it reminds me of Ham Alert. That is a big plus. And I got a lot of park to parks as a big multiplier for activators for getting other Georgia parks. Without Ham Alert, I would never have been able to, except by luck, got those other parks. And so that really was a big thing. Because I know you don't know anything about that, Dan.
No, not at all. If anybody in the chat has any questions for the Georgia Parks on the Air crew, shoot them in the chat, and we'll be sure to see if they have the answers for you.
So is there any new rules or anything new coming up for this year as compared to last year?
Not really. Not any changes I remember. We clarified some of the rules, but it did such a good performance last 2 years. We didn't want to change it big this year, but it's really encouraging to see a lot of people have signed up. So not a lot going on. It's still made to be fun, so there's a lot of people get out activate both QRP and full power. And you guys know I've been doing a lot of QRP, but we've got a big sign up. I think there's out of the 65 or so that signed up, at least 20 of them are going QRP, and that's a big deal too. It helped me a lot because Robbie and I were the two that were really pushing it hard last year.
Is it in the official rules by chance that an activator must hit 40 meters?
Except for you, Dan. They won't do it for you.
Yes. Well, today 40 meters didn't matter, right? For the inside of Georgia. So
that's right.
But
I just always find it infuriating. Well, not really infuriating, but funny, for the lack of a better term, that somebody hops straight on 20 and doesn't give your local boy a chance, you know. But
I hardly ever get 20 in state. There's a few times that I worked you, Dan, and but not many times from North Georgia to South Georgia. 20 is pretty long, but today I actually worked Toby. She's in the chat, and she was one of the surprises on 40 meters this morning. 20 must have gone to outer space. I don't know, but yeah, that's definitely a plus.
There are ways to get 20 meters inside of the state of Georgia.
Expo does it.
I do it every day.
Good at it. Yeah, he does it to me when I'm activating. I'll hear him really faintly down there, but I mean, he makes it work for some reason.
It's called the magic carpet antenna.
Yeah,
I think he bought one off of Terry Kilo 8 Golf Quebec because them boys can. It doesn't matter how close you are to them. You know, as long as you're out of ground wave, because they don't want to ground wave you. Anybody can do that. As long as you're out of ground wave, them boys will get you on 20 meters.
There you go, Eddie. So Eddie suggested for 2026, you should have a 40-meter QSO bonus. Let's see. N4TRD Turd has a question here. 1 contact per park, per band, per mode. Explain how the points work.
Oh, that's can get complicated. I should let Chris do that.
Oh, you want me to do that? I could read it. I could read it off the
Yeah, I don't have it
there,
here.
but basically, yeah, it's 1 point, 1 point per contact. We have a bonus for the multiplier for getting inside the Georgia State Park, and so and I assume you're talking about you're a hunter, not an activator. I assume in for TRD. But yeah, the multiplier is in this case getting to talk to the state park, and then you get one time on one time talking to a park. So in other words, if you work the same park on a different band, a different mode, you only get the multiplier once. And so the best way to do that is inside the rules. There is a sheet with all of the parks listed, and you can just check them off as you work them. And that way you don't have to go keep hunting that same park again. It just makes the scoring a whole lot easier than having multi-park or the same park, multiple bands, multiple times, that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
but yeah, the scoring, Robbie did a great job with the scoring. It's when you turn in your log, it spits out a number right then. You don't have to manipulate anything. Again, just like a normal contest, the work bands are not allowed. So if you turn in if you do regular POTA day and you have work bands in there, you turn that in, those will be ignored for the contest. So you don't have to go and delete anything out of your regular POTA log for that day. If you work those other bands, just turn it in anyway to our webpage, and it'll ignore all the ones that it's not supposed to be using, and then your regular POTA log will go in just like normal. So but yeah, all the samples of the scoring is on the webpage there, but that's georgiaparks.org, by the way. Dan, if you could put that up. But it's pretty simple, straightforward. There's nothing like this bonus, that bonus, this bonus. We just try to keep it as simple as possible.
The big thing though is those unique parks. There's a multiplier on both for activators and hunters. So that's why I was kind of joking about the ham alert, but you want to get as many of the 52 parks in your logbook. You can get all the QSOs you want, but when you can multiply it times the number of unique parks, that makes a big change in your score. And part of the reason we did that was to give us something to work with, but also to get all those activated and to make people stay on 40, Dan. I mean, that's definitely one way to make it work.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's another thing just popped up there. I noticed that John was asking about some of the parks that aren't state parks, like the WMAs. They aren't included. So it's got to be listed on the POTA list as a state park. And we've got the 52 parks listed on the website. And Chris and I were just sending an email back and forth about the list to a checklist.
I was just about to check on that. John listed 2 parks and wanted to know if anybody was going to activate those. And I don't think those 2 parks you listed, John, are state parks. Just from the numbers in my head, does that mean nobody's going to activate them this weekend? No, somebody might, but it's just not going to count towards credit for this event.
Right.
Right now, they're focusing on the 52 state parks in Georgia.
See, I'll tell you what. So I'm kind of shocked because this event is, basically a 24-hour event. So there is a sunset during this event.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely shocked that Jekyll Island was the second to last park picked in Georgia.
Beautiful sunset.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, and I seen Julie in the chat saying she's wanting to go there Sunday. Go there at sunset. Go down to the little boat area across from the campground. And there's a little picnic table in the back corner. Set up at that picnic table, and you will see one of the prettiest sunsets you've ever seen doing a POTA. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's one of my favorite activations to do.
And you can sit where POTA legends have sat.
Yeah, you can sit. You can sit where the POTA legend himself did his first ever late shift.
That's right.
I bet you didn't know that, Claude, did you? My first
I did
late
not
shift
know that. No.
Jekyll Island, Georgia. And I had my butt handed to me because I was not ready. Little did I know. Now that's all I want is that butt handed to me again. Oh, but yeah, it's beautiful there. I actually took my. I was sitting there activating, and I just took my phone and flipped it up like this and snapped a picture, and took maybe one of the prettiest pictures I've ever took because there
Yeah.
was a sailboat crossing in the
Yeah.
sunset, and I got a beautiful picture of it, just throwing it up there in sheer panic while doing an act of my first late shift. Yeah.
Yeah, John, this is definitely, I mean, this is a weekend that's going to help you get your worked all. I mean, if you're a hunter, it's going to help you get your worked all Georgia parks. But like I said, they focus on the 52 state parks in Georgia for this weekend. That's not to say, I'm not going to speak out of turn here because I'm not really involved with the rule making and everything else. But if popularity increases in this event, they might expand this out to all the parks in Georgia. You never know.
There's been a lot of suggestions and thoughts and comments, but it's really encouraging to see this many people excited about doing it. And I'm proud that the event is taking off like it has. I wish I could spread it somewhere else, but I live in Georgia, so that's my first love. James, sorry about that. Can't help you, but maybe we can do it somewhere else. Who knows?
I'm going to find your answer, Church. You said, is the Georgia State Parks list going to be posted on your website so I can check them off? Yes, I did see on their mailing list not long ago somebody published a checklist, and I'll find that and get it to you.
It's actually in the rules too, Dan.
In the rules section.
Perfect. So yeah, go to georgiapota.org or georgiaparks.org, and in the rules section, I'll find the direct link and send it to you.
Yeah, because it would be rough to run an event trying to get like wildlife management areas and stuff like that covered. Because I mean,
well, there's 225 in Georgia, James. That's one of the reasons we kind of backed off on that initially because we want to have success, but we've had that. So
we had talked about adding the historic sites this year, but we figured that we should just stick with what we had already.
Oh yeah,
we're not too overcrowded yet, I don't think.
No.
Georgia, even though Georgia is one of the most active states on POTA, it is. There's hardly a day when you don't see Georgia active. Even in the rain, you'll have people out there. So
we do. And me as a Georgian, I'm really proud of that too. Over the last couple of years, I've seen the activity in Georgia and Parks on the Air just grow and grow and grow. And we do have one of the most active states east of the Mississippi.
You do. You guys are always always in the top 5 of my stats. That's hunting me.
Yeah.
You're never number 1, but you're always in the top.
Well, Mo is trying to change that, so
yeah,
he'll get there.
It's going to take more than Mo to hunt me every day to get it done.
I just need to have about 10 more kids and have them licensed.
Well, there's that.
I'm just going to be anxious to get back out there because I've kind of been out of it for about 5 or 6 weeks with a family death in the family, and it's been hard. And wife says, I was thinking about not even participating. That's why Claude you don't see my parks in there yet. And then wife says, no, you've been talking about this all year long. We'll take off cleaning that house that weekend. And so I called my partner up. I thought he'd done dumped me and went with somebody else, but he's available. He came over last night, a couple nights ago, Claude, and we've got a route. I'm not even posted up on the website, but we've got a pretty much a route like we did last year. And if we eat a box of chicken and throw the bones out the window, we might add an additional park.
Colin last year, I think he's in the chat. He was amazing he rode, I can't remember the number, but he covered everything from Okefenokee Swamp all the way back up to Atlanta. Hit a lot of parks.
He schooled us. Me and Jamie ran into him in a park, and I says, I don't think that guy's going to be doing anything. Sure enough, he whooped up on all of us.
He did. Yeah.
And that kind of goes back to what James asked earlier, was there any changes? The clarification we made was on the club involvement and how clubs are activated or operated. You have to have a certain number of people, and you operate under a club call sign, that sort of thing. And so that prevented a situation we had, but But that hopefully clarifies for the people like me that you do a club event at our park, and that helps make sure that category is actual clubs rather than partners or teams or whatever, that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
that was really the biggest change that we had for this year.
And for TRD, just gave a shout out to how well your website is designed, and it gave a shout out to Mickey Mouse for doing that. Whiskey One Radio Charlie Papa, unless everybody doesn't know who Mickey Mouse is yet.
He's in the chat there, so
Yeah.
His head's getting bigger. He can't get on screen.
And if we're going to give him a shout out, we might as well give him a shout out because he's also the person who takes care of my webpage as well. So shout out for that as well, Robbie.
Yeah. Honestly, when you can upload your logs, send them into our website, and you can do that online. You don't have to do email, and the hunters don't have to do anything but just hunt and get recorded properly by the activator, just like on POTA, and you get your hunter awards. And Robbie's been great to help people that don't quite understand how to make it work. And I don't know how he does that. And I think he's supposed to be a teacher too.
Yeah. Hey, he's definitely done some code on the back end to make it a lot easier. And like you said, it's a lot easier than say, hey, we're done with the event. Let's email all of our logs to Claude. And then Claude has to manually go through these logs and tabulate scores on his abacus or some crap like that.
You know, that's it makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier for sure.
Yeah. It sure does.
Anything like that is going to make a big difference because when you manually go through stuff, for example, my monthly stats, I have a program that Dan wrote me, and I just put it in, and it gives me everything, and I just copy it down. But now for this poker challenge, I've been doing it manually, and you talking about a pain in the tail. Anytime you use manual, so you guys having Robbie do that for you, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Now he didn't do it the first year, so that's why we did have to hand jam about 10 or 12 of the biggest logs. Skip, K4EAK, and I did that, and I will tell you, we could have kissed Robbie, but don't tell him that. It sure did make it a lot easier for everybody. And the good thing, if you ever done other contests, the difficult part for me is you send in your log and then you wonder what you did. So Robbie's got it set up where they see the score right away once you drop it in there. You know if it's working or not. And within 2 weeks, we got it closed out and everybody's got the finals. In fact, that reminds me, we're going to do a get-together at Carter's Lake on May 3rd, hopefully to give out awards. It's a big get-together up there, too.
I think 2 weeks is a fair time frame to get your logs into. I mean, anything longer and it drags it out. Anything shorter than anybody who paper logs or anything like that doesn't really have time to transcribe their logs. So 2 weeks is a good even point, I think.
Yeah.
So what's the categories?
Chris got it pulled up. I mean, it's basically you got activators, single park, multi-park, and QRP or non-QRP. That's the activator side, plus the clubs. And then on the hunter side, it's in-state or out-of-state. So that's the real categories right there. There are bonuses, too. I mean, we got a hike-in bonus. If you go to a park and hike a mile and set up your station, you can get extra 100 points. And we had a few people that took advantage of that last year. And I tried to do that myself, and let's see, then I realized I didn't bring my coax with me, so I may not be doing that again.
What if a hunter, if I walk around the house 40 times before I sit down, does that count for a bonus point?
So you don't send in a log anyway as a hunter, so you just depend on what I send in.
I'll hunt Claude, and I'll say, listen, I have walked 4 miles today before I hunted you. Yep, I need some bonus points.
Terry needs 3 more Georgia parks to get his worked all Georgia or any of those state parks. If so, you're going to be in luck.
Yeah.
Probably not, because I know Traveler's Rest is one of them. He said he can't ever hear anybody at Traveler's Rest.
And this one of those historic sites is only open on Thursday through Sunday or something like that. But Terry, send us a list and we'll work on it.
And then I think one of them was an island. Bum, bum, bum.
Oh.
I think. Yeah, I've been working with Terry on his list for a while, and because we had to start picking parks because we have nothing close by. So I
Yeah.
asked Larry Bingham and Terry and John in K at NIV what their park needs were, and I'd start going to there. I helped Toby last year, I think it was, get all of hers. We went to I think I don't remember which one it was. It was a WMA. It was her last one though, but we got hers that year. So it's nice to be able to help out when you can pick and choose where to go.
Speaking of
yeah.
WMAs, Chris, there's one sole lonely dot right west of me that you still need to hit.
Yeah, that one's way down there. It's almost well, it's 3 hours down there.
Seminole.
No, it's what is
No,
it?
the
The
River
river?
Creek, Wolf
Oh,
and
the one that's
Alexandra
about
Ross.
16 letters long. Yeah.
The Rolf in Alexandria.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, see, I used to have family. Well, I still have family lives down there, but we used to have a farm in Wiggum, and that would be a reason for me to
Oh,
come
yeah.
down 4 times a year to mow the grass, and I would have no trouble getting that one, down there. But it's just not in a place I would normally travel. So, I mean, it's going to be it's on the list, of course, but the ones I'm really thinking about is like, how do I do Centennial Park without getting arrested, and stuff? Because Robbie got, he did his out there, but he got in trouble the first time he did it. So I just want to, I want to get that one without any trouble. But yeah, there's some that have been a little troublesome. But the state parks, though, man, I've been to state parks in a lot of different places, and I can't say anything more better about our state parks. Georgia has spent a lot of money trying to fix them up, clean them up, and a lot of the like cabins, for example, they went several years ago. They started replacing all the cabins, and like when we went to Magnolia Springs for Labor Day. This past Labor Day, that one cabin was less than a year old, and it had like all nice, fresh, new concrete, and the cabin was immaculate. There was no scratches or anything inside and stuff. And that is the best thing to do with like this event, because unlike the Georgia QSO party, they have a certain time frame, 10 hours a day, and it cuts off. This is this is 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Saturday morning to 8 p.m. Sunday night, and you can go 24 hours if you want to. If you want to pay for staying in the park, you don't have to stop. You can still do your quiet hours if you're camping, of course, but you can do CW and digital, or be inside the camper talking real quiet. You're not going to get N4 Charlie Whiskey Bravo inside of a camper at night, but anyway, but you don't have to stop. There's no limit on the time frame, and we left that as well. So it's more like a bonus to you. If you pay to stay in the park, you should be able to do the 24 hours, because you're paying that money, extra money, where I'm not. I'm just paying for a pavilion, and then I have to go home at 10 o'clock. It's kind of like not. It's kind of like I guess, like I said, kind of a bonus that you pay for that, you get to stay. And so that was why we left the time frame open. So
Chris asked a good question here. What's the issue with Centennial Park?
Who wants to take that one?
Yeah, it's from what I understand, buddy, it's a QRM nightmare. It's in downtown Atlanta, and Robbie had some issues with some authorities at one point.
He didn't get locked up though. Everything's good.
They just he got a talking to.
So you kind of actually have to go in there stealthily and get what you can before they ask you to leave, I guess,
Dan, I worked you from up there, and you said I didn't have a great signal. I was doing a Wolf River Coil with shorter than I usually do radios. It was tough, and the QRM is bad, but the other part is it's hard to get to without paying an arm and a leg for parking, and it got tons of people walking through it. It's an in-town location, one of the only ones that Georgia has like that, but it's a pretty place, and it's a nice feather in your hat to say you got 97, 98 activated or hunted, either one.
Yep.
We did have an activator go in at 7:30 January 1st, 7:30 a.m. January 1st. Found a parallel parking spot on the street. Went in, got their 11 contacts, and went right back out.
Yeah.
And so, but Jody did that, and he was like, there was nobody down there on New Year's Day at 7:30 in the morning. So, but with it being 2 hours from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend the night at the Omni Hotel, and then just meander over there.
Walk over there. I mean, there's some places you
I'm
can
just
go.
going to do some parks on the air, so
Yeah.
that way I don't have to go very far, and that'll be a celebration because that'll probably be my very last park. So, but don't get arrested. Yeah, it's just like anywhere else in Georgia. Sometimes you can go into the same park 1,500 times in a row, and they'll never ask you for your license. But that one time that you go in, and the guy will be there, and or the lady will be there and say, where's your pass or your fishing license or whatever. So
And sometimes sometimes you can go in and not see certain signs that are never there and get locked in the park. And have to call the DNR ranger to come open the gate and let you back out.
Man. Steve, you've never had that happen down near Columbus, have you?
No, it reminds me of a story up at Roosevelt, and I had my wife and my mother-in-law while I was activating, and as soon as I set up, the park ranger came in there. I was at Dowdell's Knob. He says, he walked over. He knew what I was doing. He says, "You about finished?" I hadn't even turned the radio on. I just turned the radio on. I says, "Actually, I was just getting started." He said, "We had to change the hours by 2 hours because some kids were up there messing with some flagpole or something." So I said, "Okay." The Georgia game was on, and I said, "I'll go home and watch the second half anyway." So I wasn't upset at all. So I packed up and left, and he milled around there. And then he chased me down. He was blowing his horn. I thought I had forgotten something. So we got down to the gate. He started apologizing. He goes, I should have just let you just lock the gate up behind you. I don't know why I did that." So, yeah, it's kind of a opposite kind of a scenario, I guess.
Yeah, for the most part, they're really friendly around here, the DNR rangers and everything else. So.
Yeah.
We're blessed by that. I know some places, their law enforcement can be kind of overbearing, for the lack of a better word. Some people can't do this without a permit kind of thing. And, yeah.
Well, no matter where you go, you're going to find somebody that's going to have that mentality. I'm a mall security cop. I have the power of the president, and you do find, we had a guy down in Tennessee one time, and he ran us off, and he even sit there and told her, he's like, "I took the police exam 3 times and they didn't approve me." And I
wonder why.
I'm sitting there thinking, I see why. And and we just politely left, and we called his boss, and we were back there the next night, and he drove by and waved at us.
That's funny.
But you get that with them, but you're better off just not to argue with them unless you're in Chief Logan and you're me. Because I did have one guy come by, and he said, the park technically closes at 10 o'clock, don't you? I said, "It sure does." I said, "You want to call your boss and tell him I'm sitting here doing radio? I dare you." He said, "Well, you better hurry up." I was like, I'll be done when I'm done. Call your boss if you want to." He wouldn't do it. Next night he come by and said, "I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't know you wouldn't cause no trouble." Yeah.
Well, the nice thing here in our county, we go out to parks here, and the EMA director knows us, from radio, and we had one of our club members get lost in the woods in one of our 4,000 acre parks here close by, and he came out, and we had a little rescue operation going, and he's like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" And it's nice that see them all the time. We talk to them, and it doesn't really affect our ability to use the park in any way. The only we don't have we do have one or two historical places around that are what they would consider federal, I guess, and so as long as those are respected and no trees, no ropes, no spikes, stuff like that, we really don't have any trouble in the federal areas. Okmulgee Indian Mounds is the one I was thinking of, is because the visitors area is right in the very front where a lot of people go, and there's a nice picnic area there. And so as long as we respect the places that we go, it's it's usually not too much of a problem here in Georgia.
I don't know what it is. Every time I activate a historic site, if I've never activated before, I'm nervous as can be. Like I just want to get in and get 10 contacts. Then I don't care. After that, I loosen up. But I don't want to get ran out of there at like 8 contacts or something. because you got somebody that don't want you there, or you're doing something wrong on this historical site. So they always make me nervous at first, but you get a lot of them in Sin Cities, like what y'all was talking with Centennial. I know when I did Yarborough down in Tampa, the noise was just absolutely crazy. And I even did a clip of it, and I was letting people hear what I was hearing, because people were like, well, I was calling you. I was like, this is what I was hearing. But on top of that, then you got all these crazy roosters, and you're in the middle of Tampa. You've got roosters running around everywhere and crowing and acting a fool.
Thinking back over the last 5 years that I've been doing POTA, it's changed a lot at the parks. I mean, now the park rangers will tell you where the last guy set up, and they ask you about it. And Mo made a comment about the community services going on. We're getting more visibility. I've tried to get in touch with Georgia Parks historic sites, and I've got a few names down, but nothing's really caught on. But I kind of relate it to the way that geocaching was in Georgia Parks. At one time, it was against the rules to put out a geocache. Now they put it in their brochures and encourage people to do it. So every time I talk to them, I remind them, hey, maybe you need to have POTA the same way to set it up. And eventually, I'd like to get them to give us a free entry, but they hadn't done that yet. But I keep working at it now.
I've thought the same thing. Some of these parks need to actually put it, because I have been to some parks that are the most beautiful places that I never, ever would have been to, because, like when I'm driving down to Florida, I'll randomly just stop at a park because I haven't activated, and I've never been there, and nor would I've stopped if I was just traveling to Florida.
Yeah.
And, you see stuff like that, and you fall in love with certain places, and it's just like Jekyll Island. I would have never went to Jekyll Island if it wasn't for POTA. Now I've been there several times.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, if anybody wants to know about Georgia Islands, I know a guy that's been out to all of them and going back to one at the end of May. So looking forward to going to Ossabaw again. Yeah, I know you got to go out there, Chris. You going, Chris?
Oh no, I was pointing at you, buddy.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
I was pointing at you. No, they'd probably kill me if I said more travel was in the next month after April.
Got household problems, huh?
With that, I forgot about that May 3rd. So that would be 6 weekends in a row I would be traveling for POTA. So yeah, no.
Well, you got to get up to North Georgia and knock out the rest of those parks anyway. And
I do.
Somebody, who Terry needs Lake Russell WMA. I'll show you where it is.
Yeah. We'll get some on the way to Murphy, and then I'm gonna hit that South Nantahala.
Southern Nantahala.
Chris, I'm finishing up Kentucky this year. You might want to finish up Georgia before I just decide to come and do it before you.
Yeah. I'd like to see that. I'd love to see that.
You do it in a weekend.
Well, no, you'll actually be surprised the next state I pick. I've already picked my next state. It ain't Georgia, but you'll be surprised the next state I pick to do all. And it's not like a little small state either. I've already picked it.
You hadn't told us yet, huh?
There's a
No.
couple of big ones. New York's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New York is not one I picked.
Well, before we forget about it, and I want to ask, I know we want this one to go over the third annual Georgia State Parks and Air to go great. And we've had a few suggestions made, but if anybody's got any, drop them on the website and let Robbie read them or send them to me or look up QRZ. We also have a Facebook group, Georgia State Parks on Air. You can make comments on there too. But if there's something anybody needs besides all the parks in Georgia, John, I know. Look, he put it up again. We're going to work on that. And actually, though, it reminds me, we did have a POTA sprint. I can't remember what Robbie called in the fall, where all parks were eligible, but we hadn't pushed that very hard. So I'd like to know more about that from anybody that's interested too.
Yeah, that was Halloween weekend, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah. That Robbie had that for the South Georgia radio clubs to kind of compete with each other.
Yeah.
And then kind of opened it up for all Georgia parks, not just but it was only 4 hours. And yeah, it was nice to be able to. We roved, I think, that time. It was pretty quick.
Good stuff. All right. Anybody else got any more questions for these guys?
I'm looking forward to it. That is for sure. We're gonna have some fun.
Oh, it's been great fun. I like to go to the parks anytime, but when you get a little challenges, get new people out there, it's a blast. I mean, last year, my second or third park was at Black Rock Mountain, and I made my first ever VHF activation with other Georgia State Parks and their activators. Because of the elevation, there was a couple of guys in the park I didn't know were there, and met one of them from Athens, where I'm from. And now he's upgraded general, but he was over at the Summit Park doing 2 meters. A couple other guys were going from Tugelo to Tallulah over to Victoria Bryant. So it's a great weekend to see people out there. And hopefully we're going to wear out your ham alert in the POTA.app page again on the 5th and 6th this year.
Good deal. Good deal. I love that kind of stuff. So there's 52 state parks.
52. Yeah.
Okay, but some of those are going to be roved by. You don't have 52 activators, correct?
Oh, we've got at least 65 signed up right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then probably more. I didn't check the last 2 days. The last time I looked, it was 65.
So then, some of those will be done multiple activators. Okay. I was curious if each one of them was going to be on, for the limit of the contest, or if some of them was just getting roved by certain people.
It's pretty good overlap, James. And 1 or 2 that may not get a single person there, but most of those are going to be overnights, so they'll have plenty of QSOs coming out of them. M5TOI, he's not on here, but he signed up for one of those, George Bagby, which is way down southwest Georgia, that nobody was on. I was worried I was going to have to drive down there myself.
That's going to be on our list.
I mean, it's tough to do that. Huh? Go ahead, Steve.
That's going to be on our list, on our south run.
Good.
We're going to go from Columbus at least to Kolomoki. We might even go to Seminole.
Providence too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mo asked, does each QSO from a Georgia State park get the 5X multiplier?
Each QSO. I have to look at the rules. I know it's you get an additional 5 points per Georgia State parks, if I remember it right. And then the multiplier is how many other parks you work.
Yep.
So you got to watch it twice. So that's why I rode to multiple parks to get the extra contact, and then hunted as many parks too while I was on the road getting park to park. And Steve, I'm pretty sure y'all did that too. Watched it because you traveled a lot of parks as well.
Yeah, you don't think about it, but for an activator roving, there's a lot of strategy into you need the multipliers, but if you pack too much windshield time in, you're not making enough contact. So there's a balance point there. me and Jamie looked at a map for about an hour earlier this week, and still came up with the same exact route I picked up last year. We're just kind of crammed over here in Columbus on the very very western edge of the state, so we're not like in the middle of anything.
Yeah, it's they are not fully evenly distributed. You can blame it on the map manager, I guess.
That's okay. He does pretty good. He does.
Well, I tell you what, it could be worse. You could be the North Carolina manager. Sorry, Michael, I'm gonna call you out right now, but you look at the central part of North Carolina, and it's just lacking. I mean, it's just lacking hardcore, and it sucks because when I travel, I go right through central North Carolina, and I mean, luckily there's Lake Norman there, and I love Lake Norman. It's one of my favorite parks to do anyway. But there's not a whole lot, off of 77 that's really accessible right there in central North Carolina.
It's just the layout of the parks too. Sometimes you just can't help that. Like here in South Georgia, if you were to do a 10-park rove in a day and stay in South Georgia, it's going to take you literally all day.
They are really spread out down there, Dan. And part of it's, I mean, there's not a state facility or a national facility. And believe me, I've dug through the list trying to Google everything I could, look at state list, and there's nothing there. But if anybody finds one, let me know. You can ask Chris about, look at that, he's getting ready, fish hatcheries.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fish hatchery, there was one in Cordele, fish hatchery down there. And
Them make me nervous too.
drove in there.
Their employees look at me like I'm an idiot.
I drove in there, past the guy's house that lives there, and parked and was taking pictures. Oh, this would be nice to tell Claude about. And he comes out of there. What's going on? I was like, oh, I'm just taking pictures to see if this would be good for our program. And he goes, what? He said, you're on private property, even though this is a state hatchery. He said, this is my house property. I'm like, oh, let me get on out of here then. So yeah, that wasn't too good, but yeah. So don't worry about the one in Cordele. It's not gonna happen.
But we do have one in Beaufort that they welcome people there. In fact, last time I went there, they told me where the last guy set up, and I said, oh, I like it under this place. They said, okay, whatever you want to do. So it depends on where you are, but making a relationship's good. But some of them I looked at the one you said at Cordele, and this was really no good place to go there.
That's just like there's a fish hatchery here in West Virginia, and it closes at like 3:00.
Yeah.
But that ranger there, or whatever, the employee or whatever, told me and Reed both, said, right outside this gate, as long as you're on this road, when you turn here, you're on our property lines. Said, you can sit right there and do it all you want, and you are on our property. And was like, cool, thank you. Because it's, a lot of people don't get to activate, maybe on the weekend, but I ain't driving out that way and on the weekend. I got better stuff to do on the weekends.
Yeah. Well, got any more questions? I'm looking there. Jamie says it's better in North Florida. I get that. It's amazing. The Florida state parks that are there, and Justin didn't pull them out of his head. They actually really are there. It's just Georgia didn't set them up there. And we've got another downfall around some of the bigger counties in Georgia that got great county parks, but the state didn't get them, and they're not going to take them, and we can't fit them in POTA that way.
Yep.
I'm surprised that you agreed with Centennial Olympic, because it was a controversy there from the beginning, and but after your research, that's good.
Yeah, I was glad that we could make them that way. I tell you, the one I really liked was getting Stone Mountain, but they both are owned and operated by the state. There's a little question about who operates them, but honestly, any facility you go in, there's going to be a little bit of shared use, but primarily state or federal is what we need. And Stone Mountain's turned out to be a real gem in Metro.
We did that one. It was 40 degrees and the wind was blowing like 50 miles an hour. So that was fun.
That sounds like summer in West Virginia, Chris. What are you complaining for?
It wasn't me that was complaining. It was the other guy. He was
Oh.
over there just shivering. You're strong 5'9".
All right. Well, if nobody else has any questions, we're going to start wrapping this up because we ain't going to keep these boys on here for no questions.
Well,
That's for sure.
let me ask a question of Claude. It might help everybody. Do the rovers? I mean, you mentioned this. If you've got a mobile setup, do you have any luck chasing parks in Georgia roving?
Oh yeah, I mean, what I do, Steve, is I drive along, got ham alert flipped on all the time on my phone, see who's on 40 meters, and when I first set up, that's the first call I make. And I really hated the guys that were in Jekyll Island last year are not able to come for medical reasons this year, because I mean, I hit them every park I was at because they were always on 40. But that's pretty much but you two riding together, that's what I would say, do get them to make us a strategy. What are we going to set up on? Who are we going to get first? And I guess you could pre-spot that you're going to be on 40 in 5 minutes or something like that, and have them get you too as soon as you stop. So like James did on those 100-part rows.
Yeah.
But you can't do it while you're in between parks, can you?
Well, you could hunt them, but it wouldn't count as
it wouldn't count for
activator.
anything.
Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know, just go find them while you're riding.
Right.
Yeah.
Have a list made that you know where they're going to be.
But
It's not that fast.
But you can help their QSO count. That brings up another topic that we're not going to delve into here. A lot of times when I'm on the way to a park and James is activating, I'll just hunt him in the mobile. As soon as I get inside the park boundaries, I'll call him back for a park to park. That's 2 contacts for him.
2 contacts same day, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. All the people do it all the time. I mean,
and you know, if you can get them on multiple bands, that works great too. And anybody that's hunting, same way. Don't worry. If you work me one time, you can work me on every other band that you can hear me on as any other POTA event. I mean, we tried to keep the rules as close to straight POTA stuff as we can. And I think that really helped us the last 2 years.
Yep.
I've had people who's out roving, you know, getting in and outs and stuff, and they'll hit me right before they go in the park as a mobile. And then they'll hit me when they get in the park as a park to park. And about the time they're wrapping up, I've switched bands. They'll hit me again as a park to park, and they'll pull out of the park and hit me as mobile again. I've had it happen many a times.
Wow. But you are the king, of course, you know.
You know,
heavy is the crown.
Yeah. We'll have to pull it up here for Claude here. Heavy is the crown.
All right.
Now you gotta listen to it. You gotta listen to it, Claude. Heavy. Heavy is the crown.
I got to go get my Mr. POTA name tag, then bring it over here.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why it is the way it is, but just like I was telling you, I checked the bands today, and I checked 3 different activators, and I couldn't hear the activators or a single hunter.
Right.
And the second I hit the spots, I had a pile up. Like Joe in Discord, he's like, dude, I will hear people. He's like, I hunt all the time. He's like, and I will hear people that I don't never hear hunt anybody else in your pile up. He's like, I don't know how you do. I said, I don't know. Other than the fact that they know I'm going to be there, and they know they're going to hear me.
Consistency, yeah.
That's
Kool-Aid.
the only thing. The only thing
Kool-Aid.
I can figure out.
Drinking Kool-Aid.
Don't tell everybody about the
What it
Kool-Aid.
is. Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So, anything else you guys want to bring up before we head out of here?
I just hope everybody has a good time, and you come down. You want to swing down by Veterans around lunchtime? We'll be having some burgers. So
There are quite a few clubs that are going to be set up like that, Chris. Thanks for saying that. I know there'll be, over 2175, they're going to be set up over there too. And there's a couple others that I've talked to too. So take advantage of looking up the list, because you can probably find somebody to talk to or get a little food from.
That should be a change you should make for next year. You should have a list of clubs that are cooking and what time they're cooking. and then I might have to actually come down and rove then.
I think Eddie and his brisket aren't going to be anywhere close by. So, yeah.
And we have to remind everybody that's not signed up on the website to go ahead and do that, like myself. And there's probably a few others that are, I don't know, purposely waiting. I'm not purposely waiting. I'm letting Jamie do the route this year because I did it last year. And we'll have it up there soon. But, yeah, no matter. Go ahead and post you something up there.
Yeah, I'll have to look and see what Georgia State parks I may have to get. And I'll try to hit them park to park.
Can't wait.
That's the fun part about my hunter awards. People will be like, "You don't never hunt. How's your hunter number so big?" I'm like, park to park.
That's right.
It's funny because I actually have, I don't know what the award's called, Dan, Master Sportsman or whatever.
Yep, that's the 20 Eagles as a hunter. Yep,
25.
25. Yeah.
As a hunter, and I have that, and it's pretty much park to parks.
Yeah.
And I've got over, I forget 300 just at like Trail of Tears and stuff. It's crazy. Eddie, thank you very much for the. He's paying me for his burger. So, Chris, you just lost $5, buddy.
That's fine. You can buy me some beaver nuggets next time you come through.
All right, so guys, go hunt this. It's a great event, and
Not this weekend. Not this weekend.
No,
Next weekend.
This weekend is one of those garbage contests that we're all going to hate and pull our hair out about. But
yeah,
but it happens time to time. So, but next weekend they'll be out there doing that. So make sure, and if you need some Georgia parks, or if you just want POTA contacts, it's a great way to get POTA contacts because there's going to be 52 parks on the year in Georgia.
That's right.
That's a band. That's a band by itself right there.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I just dropped the link again in the chat, guys. GeorgiaParks.org. Go check them out. Sign up. Check the rules out, and let's have some fun. Put Georgia POTA on the map. Claude, Steve, Chris, thank you so much for being here. Really enjoyed it, guys.
We appreciate your time.
yeah.
I appreciate you, Dan.
Glad to be here.
All
All
right.
right, Dan. What you got coming up the rest of the week?
No, man, nothing not, man. We're about to head over to the after chat, which James is going to explain now.
That's right. And that's where I'm headed, the after chat. It is a Patreon benefit, but lucky for you guys in the chat who are not Patreons, you can get a free 7-day trial and try it out. The important thing about that free trial is that you message myself or Dan and let us know, because I don't get notifications when people sign up for those, and we can get you in the room for the after chat. Other than that, you know the drill. I'm doing POTA every day of my life until I die or something drastic happens. One of these days, I'm going to I'm just going to wake up and say, I think I'm done. I'm going to be like Forrest Gump. I'm going to just run and run and run and run and run. And then just like that, one day I stopped.
And it's going to be just like Forrest Gump. People will be calling your phone, Jenny.
You activating today?
All right, guys. Thank you again. And Eddie, thanks for that super chat. And we'll catch everybody on the air. 73, everybody.
Hey, y'all have a